Ever since November 22nd, 1963, President John F. Kennedy's death has been the subject of much debate in novels and in the media. A variety of TV shows have also referenced the assassination.
You may be investigating the murder of the President of the United States.
Shortly after the events in Dealey Plaza, in a secret trial, Eric Lensher was found guilty of first-degree murder and conspiracy to assassinate the President of the United States.
But rarely will you see these shows comply with the lone gunman theory that was released by the Warren Commission. They either look for the other option or make a mockery of the official one.
However, the evidence against the mutant called Magneto remains circumstantial. According to a recently declassified report from the Warren Commission, Lensher altered the trajectory of Oswald's second bullet, effectively murdering the president.
Logically, there was a second gunman.
The government lied. They covered it up.
The secrecy and confusion of the brutal murder of JFK factored into the feeling of distrust of authority, and theories of cover-up erupted. Some of the extremes, such as the CIA killing JFK to keep him from learning about the UFOs, and Oswald's addiction to soda pop inciting the shooting, are now read and watched in mockery throughout the media coverage.
One wild premise suggests that Hoover hired an all-gay assassin squad to kill the president.
However, while we may have fun with the nutty conspiracies, the polls still show that only a minority of Americans believe in the lone gunman claim released by the Warren Commission. So whether they think it is because of soda pop or aliens, the majority of America believe that there is more to the story.
So what really happened that day?
This is how the assassination happened according to the released files from the Warren Commission. At 12:30 p.m., President Kennedy and Governor Connally are shot at Dallas Dealey Plaza. Kennedy receives wounds in the upper back and neck. Connally receives wounds in his back, chest, right wrist, and left thigh. All of these wounds are believed to be caused by a single bullet. Kennedy is then shot in the head from behind. This is determined to be cause of death. The shooter is believed to be from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. This was later assumed to be Lee Harvey Oswald, a 24-year-old former Marine who was working as a temporary employee at the depository. Oswald was confronted by police officer J.D. Tibbet, who Oswald allegedly shot and killed. He was later found and arrested in the Texas Theater. Oswald was killed by Jack Ruby as he was being moved to the county jail. The Warren Commission concluded that Oswald acted alone and that there was no conspiracy. However, let's look at the evidence through the eyes of the majority that don't trust this conclusion. According to critics, the single bullet theory is in contradiction to the location of Kennedy's neck and back wound. The Warren Commission claims the neck exit wound was an inch lower than Dr. Carrico, the doctor who worked to revive Kennedy, claimed it to be. And it is also believed by some that the back wound is too low to be able to hit Connally the way it did. Another point made by critics is the magic bullet theory, criticizing the single bullet theory because of its lack of following the laws of physics.
You say you were struck on the right temple. The spit then proceeds to ricochet off the temple, striking Newman between the 3rd and the 4th rib. The spit then came off the rib, made a right turn, hitting Newman in the right wrist, causing him to drop his baseball cap. The spit then splashed off the wrist, pauses in midair, mind you, makes a left turn and lands on Newman's left thigh. That is one magic loogie.
But considering the position in which Connally was at, the single bullet theory has been shown possible. But it also doesn't help the confusion when no one seems to be able to agree on where each bullet was and what each bullet did. The strongest evidence the critics have of a second gunman is the fatal headshot back into the left.
What happened to your head when you got hit?
Well, my head went back to the left.
Implying that the fatal head wound was shot from the front right of the president, inconsistent with Oswald's alleged position. These inconsistencies cause theorists to believe that there are more than one gunman, and possibly 3 or 4. This is the common assumption of where most other conspiracies branch off.
And who killed the president?
Who is big enough to get away with the murder of the President of the United States? One theory is the military-industrial complex, which is the relationship between government defense entities and the defense-minded organizations. The war planners get tools to fight in the war and political benefits, while the industries are part of a multi-million-dollar deal. The conspiracy is that Kennedy was targeted by defense contractors in the Pentagon because it was believed that Kennedy was about to pull out of Vietnam.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
This is also similar to the shadow government theory, in which Kennedy was killed by the secret or shadow government of wealthy industrialists and right-wing politicians in order to escalate the war in Vietnam. Another theory was that Lyndon B. Johnson was involved. 20% of Americans after the assassination believed that Lyndon B. Johnson was involved in the Kennedy's murder.
Said that Robert Kennedy said to him, "Why did you have my brother killed?"
He had personal motives, he had economic motives, he had political motives.
It was thought that Johnson plotted Kennedy's death because he disliked the president and was afraid of being dropped from the Democratic ticket. The Mafia conspiracy is that Oswald was hired by the Mafia to kill John F. Kennedy because of his brother's threat to crack down on the mob. Oswald was later killed by Jack Ruby, who had mob affiliations, to keep him quiet. The CIA is also believed to have part of both Kennedy assassinations, whether interweaved into other theories like the military-industrial complex, Cuba, Lyndon B. Johnson, or by itself because of Kennedy's desire to destroy the existence of the agency.
CIA and the Mafia working together, trying to whack out the beard, mutual interest. They've been doing it for years.
So how do we find out what's true?
It's a mystery wrapped in a riddle inside an enigma.
Many believe the only way to know for sure is for the public to have access to the 1,100 documents that the CIA and other agencies still have in custody. The CIA claimed that the records are not believed to be relevant to the JFK assassination. National Archives have also stated that the CIA lacks the time and resources to review the records. Federal law mandates that all known records relating to the assassination will be released by 2017 unless any agencies object, in which case the Assassination Records and Review Board would appeal.
Remind all of you that while the board is going away today, its work continues. The echo of our efforts will be heard literally for the next decade or longer. But it also depends, since some of these documents have been postponed in their release until the year 2017, and in some cases earlier, it depends on all of us to keep the people who are in the agencies feet to the fire, so that when those dates come for documents to be opened, that they don't shirk their legal and constitutional responsibility and really the moral responsibility that's entailed in our act.
The CIA, as of now, has no plan to object. Files have mostly been declassified since the release of the Warren Commission with the help of the 1974 Freedom of Information Act and the President John F. Kennedy Assassination Records Collection Act of 1992. Some of these released files included medical evidence, Oswald's trip to Mexico City, and JFK foreign policy secrets regarding Vietnam and Cuba. But these files have not calmed the public down or believed to make anything clear, and many are still upset that there are still 1,100 documents being held back. The British author Anthony Summers told the Associated Press, "By withholding Kennedy-related documents, the agency continues to encourage the public to believe they're covering up something more sinister. Will the files be able to satisfy America, or will John F. Kennedy's name continually trigger a fear and thought of conspiracy?"
Tennyson wrote, "Authority forgets a dying king." This was never more true than for John F. Kennedy, whose murder was probably one of the most terrible moments in the history of our country. Do not forget your dying king.